Okay, for the next part of the rotator cuff reactivation, I want to talk about how to stabilize the scapula itself. Okay? Now, the scapula has its own problems. Some of the muscles are inhibited and because they are too long, and some of the muscles are inhibited because they're too short. Okay? The muscles in the front here, pec minor, which attached to the core process of your scapula, is inhibited in the short position. The muscles in the back, the rhomboids between shoulder blades, middle trapezius and lower trapezius are inhibited in a long position. So first, before we can start with muscles in the back, we have to release the pec minor in the front. So the pec minor is a very hard muscle to stretch because it's not connected to the humerus. It's connected from the scapula, the core process, to the second, third, or fourth rib. It's a very small muscle. It kind of traces my 3 fingers here. To release that, you have to use some kind of pressure point therapy or manual release technique. You can use a ball. I find that a lacrosse ball works really well. You can use also a tennis ball. The tennis ball is a little bit bigger, so it's not as effective. The lacrosse ball is smaller, you can get in there a little bit better. So what you do is you find a flat surface, a table, or a bench. You take your ball. I like to use a towel because the ball tends to slip away if I just put it like this. I put it underneath the towel, it'll stay more stable. Now you know that the muscle is right here at the very corner of where the clavicle meets the shoulder, right under that corner there. It goes like this, these 3 fingers, and you want to push into that muscle like that. What you do is you knee into that surface on top of the ball, arm out, put your weight into it. If it feels really achy, then you got it, because that muscle is really tight and it's very achy and it doesn't feel good when you do this pressure point release. What I would suggest is do it 30 seconds at a time. You won't be able to release the whole thing in one treatment. Push on it, lean on it, and then rub it back and forth. That's the first part of the scapular stabilization. So that's pec minor. The next 2 parts involve strengthening the rhomboids and the middle trap and lower traps. For the rhomboids, the movement is simple. What you do is just retract your scapula, you squeeze it together, and then you release. So retract the scapula, make sure your shoulders are down, and you depress your scapula towards your hips, squeeze it together, and then release. What I would do is squeeze it together, hold for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then stretch for about 5 to 10 seconds. Repeat it 10 to 15 times, and that's the reactivation of the rhomboids. The next exercise is to reactivate the middle trap. For the middle trap, you grab your tubing, start shoulder width apart, thumbs out, palms up, and you pull the tubing back to touch your chest, and you slowly bring it in. Pull it back, touch your chest, slowly bring it in. Here's a common mistake: sticking your chest out. Because what you're doing is you're using the muscles that extend your spine rather than the muscles that depress your scapula or bring the scapula inward. So keep your spine neutral. So don't let your stomach stick out, your rib cage stick out. Keep your stomach in, keep the rib cage pulled in as you pull the arm back. So you're squeezing. Again, you're also activating the rhomboids a little bit in this position. So this is helping for the scapular stabilization. That's the second exercise. Repeat 15 to 20. The third exercise is for the lower trap. For the lower trap, you're going to have one hand as a stabilizer. The other hand is the working arm. You're going to pull that arm so that the arm goes next to your ear and slightly behind your ear. And again, you don't want to extend the rib cage because you don't want to use those spinal extensors. Keep the rib cage tucked in. So using those muscles that depress the scapula, lower trap specifically, you control the movement on the way up, and you control the movement on the way down. Repeat 15 to 20 times on both sides. And that is how you reactivate the rotator cuff muscles. Number one, do pressure point relief to bring the muscles back to the normal length. Number two, you flush the blood into those muscles to get rid of the inflammation. Number three, you stabilize, you release the muscles of the scapula and pec minor, and then you strengthen the muscles of the scapula in the back, the lumboids, middle trap, and lower trap. Now, at the beginning of the reactivation process, the goal is to flush inflammation out. So you use tubing and lightweight resistance so that you don't strain the muscle too much. But as you get stronger, you can use stronger tubing and more resistance. And you could also change the position of the exercise. So instead of doing this neutral position of the external rotation, you can do this position here, which is a more unstable position, and it's a more sport-specific position to strengthen the rotator cuff muscles. If you have any questions, please reach me by Twitter or YouTube at AlainFitnessDoc, A-L-A-I-N FitnessDoc. Thank you.